Hey, I usually go to the theater when I figure the crowd is at a minimum, primarily for my own viewing enjoyment. But Sunday morning, my local theater was packed. I'm talking about 9:30 in the morning. The theater was crowded, and you could feel the excitement mounting. We all make mistakes. Not going to the theater, that wasn't a mistake. But we all have regrets, even if we deny that we have those regrets. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a film about guilt and fear and regret. First of all, I have to admit, the multiverse is a mess, and the MCU is becoming even messier as we delve into the multiple multiverses in the various MCU films. So let's take a look at this latest Doctor Strange installment, and let's see if there is a method to the MCU's madness. A lot is going on here, so let's get started. Hi, I'm Rob, and this is A Constantly Racing Mind. The film starts in media res, with an oddly looking ponytailed Doctor Strange leading a young Hispanic woman away from some cosmic Lovecraftian creature trying to attack the two. A short battle ensues. Apparently they're searching for an ancient tome, a grimoire, the Book of Vishanti. This manuscript is the source of white magical knowledge, contains defensive magical spells, and is indestructible, supposedly. At this point the book is not essential, as just as they are getting close, and like the things in our lives that we seek earnestly to obtain, go slip sliding away. Now the girl, it seems, has certain powers, and to defeat the demon, Doctor Strange decides to turn on the girl. While he says he is doing what he is about to do for the greater good of humanity, the girl pleads for her life as Strange starts pulling her magical powers from her. Sort of like the quickening in the Highlander films. But at the moment, Strange is impaled by the creature. The two suddenly fall through some quantum dimensional slip and end up in our reality, which apparently is designated as Earth 616. And of course, it's all a bad dream, and Stephen Strange wakes up from the nightmare. He dresses and heads off to church, where he will watch his former love, Christine Palmer, get married. Now, once again, Rachel McAdams plays Christine. She's getting married, and the wedding goes off without a hitch until the reception. Then, of course, Stephen Strange tries to explain why he did what he did. Actually, Strange is always explaining what he did in Endgame and the other films, and that he did what he felt he had to do. But unfortunately, it seems to be a never-ending thing in this movie. Now, remember, this is a Sam Raimi film. Starting out in the early 80s with the cheesy horror cult classic Evil Dead, starring his friend Bruce Campbell. Now, keep that in mind. Then there was The Evil Dead 2 and The Crazy Army of Darkness, all starring Campbell as Ash Williams, the intrepid hero fighting off evil zombies. Now, Raimi also directed Darkman with Liam Neeson in 1990 and 2009's Drag Me to Hell. But before that, Sam and his brother Ivan wrote and Sam directed from 2002 to 2007 the original Spider-Man film starring Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. So Raimi is no stranger to films based on Marvel characters. So taking the helm of Doctor Strange allowed him to put his mark on the MCU. So if you're new here, we cover the film genres of sci-fi, horror, action-adventure, pop culture, and all things geek. So if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when a new video comes out. So at Christine's reception, there is a commotion outside of the street. A one-eyed purple people-eating monster comes a-calling. In fact, it is chasing after that same young lady that was in the doctor's dream or nightmare or whatever it was. Of course, like Superman, Stephen Strange simply grabs his coke from out of thin air, jumps off the balcony, and takes on the Gargantos. Yeah, that's what it's called. Waving his arms and conjuring his magic symbolic discs, fending off the creature who is still attacking the young woman. Strange is aided by none other than Wong, played by Benedict Wong, of course. How convenient. They subdue the creature, and despite the carnage and collateral damage, the trio eventually go off their merry way and get something to eat. Apparently the girl, known as America Chavez, is a traveler of both time and space. In other words, a fringe slider. Playing America is teenager Xochitl Gomez, She's been on Netflix's The Babysitter's Club. In September 2011, America Chavez's character made her debut in the comic Vengeance #1, before joining the Young Avengers and starring in her own weekly series, America. She explains that she cannot control her universe-sliding abilities and that the creature was trying to steal her verse-opening powers. She takes Stephen up to meet Doctor Strange from the alternative universe, lying dead on top of a roof. Remember, this version of Strange turned on her, causing her to not to be too trusting of the good doctor. So sensing witchcraft, our hero takes off and seeks out the witch, Wanda Maximoff, better known as the Scarlet Witch. So now it's time to sound the spoiler alert, kind of. So if you're familiar with WandaVision, then it's not a real spoiler, but it is essential to understand this film up to a certain point. Wanda went nuts, or should I say, she lost all sense of reality. Soon after, all the events of all the last movies, overwhelmed by grief over recent personal losses, Maximoff utilizes her chaos magic, her magic skills, to hypnotize the residents of Westview into creating an alternative, beautiful utopia based on sitcom cliches that she watched as a kid. Finally, with a revived Vision as her husband, Maximoff fulfilled her dream life, even having twin boys, Tommy and Billy. The scenario was complicated by Agatha Harkness, a fellow witch who wanted to learn more about Maximoff's new reality, and a SWORD operation led by Tyler Hayward, who planned to assassinate her. Wanda eliminates her family after learning the magnitude of her damage to Westview. Maximoff secludes herself and begins studying the Darkhold. The Darkhold's power had steadily corrupted Maximoff's mind during her exile, leading her to believe that the only way to see her children again was to locate them in a separate realm within the multiverse. So there you have it. Wanda Maximoff, using chaos magic, the ability to change reality, has created a world where she and Vision once led the idyllic life she saw on TV reruns of Sokovia as a kid. She is chasing Chavez for her ability to create portals, allowing her to explore other universes or realities where her twin children still exist. Now, on the surface, this seems quite mad. But what is reality anyway? So, in Christopher Nolan's Inception, the dreamers dream to wake up. Who are we to say what is real? In Star Trek Genesis, Captain Picard finds what he desires: a family. The same as Captain Kirk, a life with a woman he loves and wants to stay with. But they both know it isn't real. Inside the Nexus, nothing is real. Even the film's antagonist is willing to kill millions just to get back to the Nexus and his happy place. Or as another doctor who had to deal with the grief that comes with the death of his child and his wife's refusal to let go of that child. I'm talking about Walter Bishop in Fringe, and the multiverse destruction that comes with the ripping the veil between universes as he traveled between worlds in order to save a version of his son's life, Peter. As it turns out, we humans tend to kill that which we desire. And so Wanda Maximoff will do and kill whoever she must to get to the place where she is with her two boys in whichever universe she must, and thus the adventure begins. Back at Kamar-Taj, Wong, Strange, and their sorcerers, wizards, or whatever they're called, prepare for battle against the Scarlet Witch. War and destruction ensue. Unable to control her universe-jumping abilities, she and Strange end up on an alternative Earth, designated as 838, where Wanda and her two kids live the life the Scarlet Witch was searching for. So let's talk about astral projection, or out-of-body experience, or in the MCU, it's called dreamwalking. And then she takes over her other self. Possession, of course, but then the hold is broken. There is plenty of universe hopping, and there are alternative versions of Marvel characters, especially some who have come over in the Fox acquisition. We have the Illuminati, strange creatures, a musically evil Doctor Strange, and a zombie Doctor Strange. We visit Wundagore Mountain and enter Castle Darkhold, and another version of Christine Palmer we meet, who, like her alternative self, was once in love with Dr. Stephen Strange. Also included is a pretty cool cameo with Bruce Campbell. Writer Michael Waldron works to homogenize the print characters with the cinematic characters, which leads the MCU and the viewers to wonder where Doctor Strange's character will go from here. The same for America Chavez, where will she land in future films? As it turns out, none of what we see on the silver screen wasn't already in some way somewhat preordained by the print versions, and to some degree with what Disney has done with the Marvel franchise and what they're planning to do with the Marvel franchise going forward. The characters' actions have some connection to the print counterparts. Now, the issue I have is with the convoluted histories that the comics or graphic novels, if you will, have on the future of the franchise, as well as the fact that if you didn't see WandaVision or know that the character's story arc from the comics, then you have no idea where the hell all of this darkness comes from. I personally found the whole Wanda Breaking Bad story kind of unsettling after her heroics in the Avengers story arc. Now, Sam Raimi is a competent director. He is great with horror films. I love the first two Spider-Man films. However, I found something lacking in this film. I found the film slightly disjointed as he tries too hard to cram so much stuff into this film. Yeah, it's maddening, but the madness works to the detriment of the film. I really wasn't sure if I was watching a Doctor Strange 2 version or a sequel to WandaVision, or is this the fallout from Endgame? I wasn't really sure. With all the fan references going on there, not quite sure what film I was watching. Now, does this ruin the film altogether? No, I don't think so. However, I think it leaves the audience wanting. However, I did find it hilarious that Bruce Campbell has a cameo in this film. Now, I thought it was just that because of their long-standing friendship and working relationship, and I guess that Sam asked Bruce to join the film. However, it turns out that there is a deeper relationship between Campbell's character of Ash Williams to Marvel, especially with America Chavez. Despite the darkness that Elizabeth Olsen brings to Wanda Maximoff as the Scarlet Witch, or probably because of it, I think she steals the show. She seals the deal with her acting skills and determination to bring her tragic character to life. As Wanda explains, her grief and anger do not justify her character's actions. Ultimately, as in WandaVision, she does have an epiphany of sorts. Olsen is great in this part. I just want to see her outside of the MCU and see what else she has to lend her talents to. Now, I like Benedict Cumberbatch as the good doctor. He plays the part with both the arrogance and the determination to get the job done. He plays the character who has a sense of humanity. However, his character flaws, the doctor's, not Benedict's, the actor's, is somewhat his lack of empathy for others translate to a doctor who can see those flaws in his alternative entities. Unfortunately, he doesn't quite learn from those mistakes. And I like Benedict better in this film rather than in Wrath of Khan. Star Trek, just didn't work for me. Xochitl Gomez does a great job of bringing the young teen character to life. As a young Hispanic woman who, like her character in the film, brings the diversity of the 21st century. She plays America with the naivety of a teenager, but with the knowledge that she is special, but has the humility not to be arrogant like Doctor Strange himself. Yet she can portray an orphan who knows what it's like to lose her parents and uses that to her advantage. With all that is going on in the world today, Disney is still taking steps to portray the world as it is. Diverse. Now, I remember liking the score to the first film done by Michael Giacchino, so when I found out that Danny Elfman was doing the score for the Multiverse of Madness, I was kind of excited. Not so much for his work on the Avengers Age of Ultron from 2015, but more from his work with Tim Burton in his quirky horror films. And now to sum this all up. Don't forget, this is a Sam Raimi film. His horror roots show throughout the film, going from one extravagant monster to another until it focuses on one. Like all villains, one individual doesn't see themselves as the monster that they have become. And Elfman does a great job bringing the epic horror of that universe to life. But the question still remains, how am I supposed to connect to the story or the characters? Which character draws my attention or empathy? Who is the most relatable? The young victim of circumstance, America Chavez? She's a good choice for my empathy. Perhaps the grieving mother who enslaved an entire town in her despair, or descending down the dark rabbit hole, allowing her to destroy universes. Certainly not Stephen Strange with his arrogant personality. Well, it's not a bad film, but certainly not as epic as it was made out to be. But worth a watch. And as I said, I saw this in the theater, and the Atmos sound system allowed you to feel the film. Now, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness runs about 2 hours and 6 minutes and is rated PG-13. If you saw the film, tell me what you thought about it. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. Subscribe and ring the bell to get notified when all my videos come out. And watch the video right here for more cosplay and film prop fun. Take care.